Your biggest flaw is the same flaw that I have, that everybody else has. And it has really nothing to do with your competence, your consistency, or anything to do with actually the things you're doing day to day. But your biggest flaw is your attachment to outcomes. And the reason why that's your biggest flaw is because when you're attached to the outcome, it actually prevents you from taking action because you're afraid of what failure means. Because if you don't take any action, then you never are disappointed on not reaching that outcome that you desire. So the whole goal of business and sales in general is just to fall in love with the process, fall in love with the game, because that's what this is. This is just a game. This shit does not matter. And so if you're hyper attached to this shiny object in the future, then you're not going to do what you need to do clear-headedly to tackle today as a game, as fun, as play. And so this is something I constantly have to remind myself is, business is just a game. It's just for fun. So play the game to win as if it's just you're shooting hoops or you're playing tennis or you're playing spades or whatever it is, instead of thinking of it as this thing that defines who you are as a human or as an individual or how you are perceived by your community or your friends or your peers. And so if you can always keep that in mind, that your biggest flaw is your attachment to this future state. And so you never really get to enjoy the present. You never get to enjoy today. You never get to enjoy this conversation we're having here because you're always thinking about, well, things aren't right now. So somehow in the future, they're going to be right. It's never going to come. You're never going to get there with that mindset because life only gives you what you're ready for. And if you're always thinking about lack or what you don't have and what you're currently struggling with and what you're scared of, then you'll never actually take the joyful action in the moment. So this is just a reminder for myself more than anything is always stay focused on the here and now and enjoying the process because tomorrow may not come. And so I certainly don't want to torment myself thinking about what is lacking in this moment when I could be gone tomorrow. So this has always served me and hopefully it serves you guys. I think a funny thing we can talk about was what happened at the beginning of this meeting is if I am hyper attached to this has to be a perfect fucking meeting and everything has to go exactly according to plan. And then when the Wi-Fi goes out and I lose my shit, that just causes chaos for myself and for you guys. And so it's like, yeah, so the fucking Wi-Fi went out. Who cares? Like, if we don't have the meeting, who cares? It doesn't matter. So it's like, that was a perfect analogy for what I wanted to talk about because it's like, yeah, and so they said no. Yeah, so you lost the deal. And so you went bankrupt. And so you made $1 million. So what? Like, do whatever you want to do in the moment that brings you joy, that makes you feel expansive, that makes you feel like you are becoming the person you always knew you were. And if I flipped out over the Wi-Fi going out, then I'm going backwards, obviously, not forward. And my goal is to go forward. So I just think it's just something always you can remember and always remind yourself of in any given moment when you're dealing with, you deal with bozos all the time, but something that has nothing to do with you. If they don't like you, that has nothing to do with you. It has to do with how they feel about them. And all you can do is have grace on them.